The ends justify the means. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Men are more ready to repay an injury than a benefit, because gratitude is a burden and revenge a pleasure. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Politics have no relation to morals. Never was anything great achieved without danger. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise that the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. The injury we do and the one we suffer are not weighed in the same scales. It is better to be adventurous than cautious, because fortune is a woman. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. Men rise from one ambition to another. First, they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. Princes and governments are far more dangerous than other elements within society. Innovation makes enemies of all those who prospered under the old regime, and only lukewarm support is forthcoming from those who would prosper under the new. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. The more sand that has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries, of more serious ones they cannot. Before all else, be armed. One change always leaves the way open for the establishment of others. It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. He who has not first laid his foundations may be able with great ability to lay them afterwards, but they will be laid with trouble to the architect and danger to the building. Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. When you disarm the people, you commence to offend them and show that you distrust them either through cowardice or lack of confidence, and both of these opinions generate hatred. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. The greatest general is not the one who can take the most cities or spill the most blood. He is the one who can take the most risk and make the most gain. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. All courses of action are risky, so prudence is not in avoiding danger, but calculating risk and acting decisively. There are three kinds of intelligence. One kind understands things for itself. The other appreciates what others can understand. The third understands neither for itself nor through others. This first kind is excellent, the second good, and the third kind useless. He who is prudent and lies in wait to snatch victory from the enemy is always victorious. A return to first principles in a republic is sometimes caused by the simple virtues of one man. His good example has such an influence that the good men strive to imitate him, and the wicked are ashamed to lead a life so contrary to his example. Princes and governments are far more dangerous than other elements within society. Beware of a man who interrupts you because he is trying to show you strength. The greatest rewards are always reserved for those who bring great value to themselves and the world. A prince should have no other objective, no other thought, no other profession but war. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. The best fortress which a prince can possess is the affection of his people. Fortune is a river which is easily crossed, but hard to recross. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. A prudent man should always follow in the path trodden by great men and imitate those who are most excellent. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. The worst of all deceptions is self-deception.